Trump exempts Hungary from Russian oil sanctions for a year. Thousands of U.S. flights canceled or delayed over government shutdown cuts. Israel receives coffin Hamas says contains body of Gaza hostage. Blame game over Air India crash goes on. Trump exempts Hungary from Russian oil sanctions for a year. President Trump has granted Hungary a one-year exemption from U.S. sanctions on Russian oil and gas. Key reasons for the exemption: geographic dependency. Trump stated that Hungary, being a landlocked country, has difficulty sourcing oil and gas from elsewhere. Personal alliance. The decision highlights the close political and personal alliance between Trump and Hungary's Prime Minister, Viktor Orbán. Political necessity. Orbán, who faces elections, had argued the sanctions would ruin Hungary's economy and has promised voters cheap Russian energy. Important details. While initially vague, it was later confirmed the U.S. granted a full one-year waiver. As part of the arrangement, Hungary agreed to purchase hundreds of millions of dollars worth of U.S. natural gas. This move appears to contradict Trump's earlier tough stance on punishing those who do business with Russian energy firms. The decision is likely to be poorly received by many European allies who oppose Orbán's friendly ties with Moscow. Thousands of U.S. flights canceled or delayed over government shutdown cuts. The ongoing U.S. government shutdown has caused major nationwide disruptions, especially in air travel operations. On Friday, over 5,000 flights were canceled or delayed after the Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) issued an emergency for percent cut in flights to reduce strain on unpaid federal workers. If the crisis continues, that number is expected to rise to 10% next week. Air traffic controllers are among the hardest hit. They are required to work without pay, leading many to call in sick or quit due to stress and financial hardship, creating a staffing shortage that threatens flight safety. The hardest-hit airports include New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. Officials warn that if the shutdown continues, flight reductions could reach 20% across major airports. Nick Daniels, president of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, said workers are being used as political pawns. "We're doing everything we can to keep passengers safe, but we can't suddenly put money in our own pockets. Congress needs to reopen the government." At airports, passengers are facing long lines, canceled flights, and hours of waiting. Some have bought $300 train tickets or rebooked flights 12 hours later just to reach their destinations. Politically, the shutdown has now lasted 38 days, the longest in U.S. history. Democrats are demanding that any short-term funding bill include healthcare subsidies for low-income Americans. Republicans accuse Democrats of holding the government hostage over unrelated issues. Israel receives coffin Hamas says contains body of Gaza hostage. Gaza hostage body returned. Latest update on Israel-Hamas ceasefire intro text for video. Israel has received the body of a hostage from Hamas in Gaza. This comes as part of the ceasefire deal that started on October 10th. So far, 20 living hostages have been returned. 22 out of 28 deceased hostages have been recovered. 6 bodies remain in Gaza, 5 of them Israeli and 1 Thai. Under the ceasefire, Israel released 250 Palestinian prisoners and 1,718 people from Gaza. In return, Israel received the bodies of 285 Palestinians and 19 Israeli hostages, along with 3 foreign hostages. However, the situation remains tense. At least 241 people have died in Gaza since the ceasefire, and over 68,875 people have been killed since the October 7th attacks. This event highlights the complexity and ongoing tensions between Israel and Hamas. Blame game over Air India crash goes on. Air India 171 crash. What happened and why? The incident, on June 12, 2025, Air India Flight 171, flying from Ahmedabad to London, crashed into a building just 30 seconds after takeoff, killing 260 people. Initial investigation: in July, India's Air Accident Investigation Bureau (AIB) released a 15-page interim report. The report indicated no problems with the aircraft or its engines but focused attention on the pilots. Controversial details: fuel cutoff switches were moved from run to off seconds after takeoff, depriving the engines of fuel. Cockpit voice recordings captured a conversation between the pilots trying to understand who had moved the switches. This fueled speculation about the pilot's role. Alternative theory: Indian safety expert capped. Amit Singh and the US-based Foundation for Aviation Safety (FAS) suggest an electrical fault in the FADEC engine control system may have automatically cut off the fuel supply. In this scenario, the switches may not have been physically touched until the pilots tried to restart the engines. Court and families: India's Supreme Court has stated that the pilots should not be blamed. Capped. Sumit Sabharwal's father, Pushkarai Sabharwal, is seeking an independent judicial inquiry. Experts' opinions: Boeing maintains that the 787 is safe, but FAS criticizes outdated investigation protocols that can wrongly focus blame on pilots rather than technical system failures. Our message and visuals for you were just these. Keep following us for more.